it's April 1st, which means it's Autism Awareness Month. And many of you have watched other portions of my blog, so you know who I am and my family, but some of you don't. So I'm just going to take the opportunity while I have it to introduce myself and my family and let you know why I do this. I'm a mom of 3 funny, amazing, handsome, I might be a little biased, boys. All 3 have disabilities. 2 happen to have autism. So I'm not an expert on autism by any means. What I am is a mom who has lived it every moment of every second of every day for 10 years times 2. Chances are, if there's an issue, I've had it. So I just want to share what I've learned. Maybe not as much with the autism community as with those who don't live with autism. I want people to understand autism, to accept it. We're all going to know someone eventually, if you don't already. So I want to spend this month answering questions and discussing topics that you want to hear about. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you need to know, what you don't know, what misconceptions we can clear up. And I want to give you a glimpse into our life, what living with autism really is like. We'll talk about school issues and behavior issues and the COPs and IEPs and anything. Some topics might make you laugh. Some might just teach you something. And some might make you cry. And that's okay. We're human, and human emotion is a huge part of why we're unique. So I just ask that you share these. Let's get the word out. Let's get people talking. Let's ask questions. Let's spend some time educating, talking, and accepting. In addition to having a ton of personal experience, I have spent a few years working in group homes for adults with disabilities, and I am currently finishing my graduate degree in mental health counseling. So I can come at it from any standpoint. I can come at it from a personal standpoint. I can come at it from a professional standpoint. I can come at it from an academic standpoint. So I hope that you'll find something in these vlogs this month that strike your interest, something that makes you want to share it, something that makes you want to love your kids just a little bit more. I'm going to start off with why I think it's important to talk about it. I know some people don't. Some people think Autism Awareness Month is silly, and it kind of is, because it's every month for me. It's every day. It's every moment. It's in every breath I take. There's no break. There's no forgetting. There's no moving on to something else. But I think that's why it's important for those of you who don't live with autism to maybe just listen just until the end. And if you're bored, then don't listen to another one. But if you find one thing of interest, one thing that brings a tear to your eye or makes you laugh, then stick around for the month and let me know your thoughts and what you want to hear about. And the thing I want to share with you is about one of my kids. We'll talk about all 3 of them through this month. I think you'll get to know our family very well, and that's kind of the goal. I want you to see that we're just like everybody else, yet totally different. My oldest is a teenager, and he recently started high school this year. Yes, I'm old enough to have a high schooler. I'm just kidding. I know I look it. And he can struggle academically, behaviorally, everything but maybe socially. He's got some really cool social skills. But his big struggle is behavior. And he's big. Let's face it. My husband is 6'3", 300 pounds. I'm 5'7", 170. My son is 5'10" already at 15 years old. So wears a size 13 shoe. I'm a little outmatched, let's just say. And he can get physical. And he has, and he does, on a regular basis. Most recently at school, things got really scary and the cops were called. And as with maybe any parent out there, you know, the first place your mind goes is all those horror stories you hear in the news about cops being involved because they're not trained to work with that population. Tasers and handcuffs and dragging people away. I'm not going to lie. I was less than 5 minutes away when they arrived. And by the time I arrived, I was shaking. I was in tears, and I was afraid of what I was going to go into. Thankfully for me, the story doesn't end with a kid being tased and drug away from school in handcuffs. Thankfully, I have amazing support people on staff at the school who respect and appreciate my kids and my family and myself. And they held the cops off long enough for me to arrive and intervene. And thankfully, whether it was out of necessity or fear, the cops gave me my space. It worked out. My son came home with me. We regrouped. We learned. We moved on, and he went back to school. So, for me, it wasn't a horror story like you hear in the news, but it could have been. So, let's take stories like this and let's open the dialogue and let's educate one another. Let's educate the general public. Let's put our minds together and come up with great plans and great ways to make our communities autism inclusive. Let's celebrate the ones we love. Don't be ashamed to share your stories. You're not alone. With that said, let's discuss different topics. Comment below. Many of you know how to get a hold of me, so tell me what you want to hear about, what questions you have, what concerns you have. If you don't know autism, you're the people I want to hear from. If you do know autism, share things with me that you think people need to know. Let's make it a month of fun and learning and laughing and crying together. If you have personal questions for my family, send those as well. I will be doing a question answer at some point with my son, my oldest. And I hopefully will be giving you a glimpse into the everyday life of the Mast Family Zoo, if all goes well. So until tomorrow, spread awareness, love one another.